So that's to record. Dora, are you okay, Dora?
Last bit. Sorry, I should have done this before I came in.
The script?
Yeah, just finish this one line. And that's what Tom Cruise really likes.
Okay.
Right.
Hello, my name's Martin Kellner, and it's my it's my delight to welcome you to Pleased to Meet You. It's the programme in which we're pleased to meet some of the people that Dora Dale is pleased to meet.
That's me.
Dora has a long and eventful.
And Martin Kellner has a long and eventful.
Dora has a long and eventful life in show business and on the fringes of show business, and she's going to share some of her reminiscences with us. Dora, welcome. Now, first of all, we're going to play an operatic version of a Beatles song. This is Kathy Berberian, who was an opera singer. You knew her, and she got together with the Beatles, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. She went to see John Lennon, who by then was seeing Yoko Ono in their apartment in Manhattan. I went and spent some time.
You did?
With them.
Yes.
At that time, they were campaigning all the time for
love and peace, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they loved peace, and they loved love, and they loved practical jokes.
That's a side of them you don't often see.
No, but they were constantly teasing each other. You know, if Yoko Ono had to go and have a pee during the night, you know, John Lennon had a box of cornflakes under his side of the bed, and he'd sprinkle cornflakes on the sheet on her side of the bed. So when she got in, it was all crunchy and crackly. Yes. And then she would get her own bag the next morning. You know, she'd sprinkle ground glass all over his grapefruit.
Excellent.
And he'd end up in hospital vomiting, diarrhea, half dead, really. But that was the thing. They just couldn't take life seriously. You know, it was all just a big joke to them.
I think I'm going to be sad. I think it's today. The boy that's driving me mad, he's going away. He's got a ticket to ride. He's got a ticket to ride. He's got a ticket to ride, but he don't care.
Now we're going to talk, Dora, a little bit about the royal family. I know you don't.
I can't.
I know there's our restrictions. A lot of things that some very.
Smell that.
Yes, I mean, I know there's some very funny
Prince
stories. That you can't tell.
No.
And I wouldn't ask you to break any confidences. I really wouldn't.
Please don't, Martin, because I will. And then we'll be in trouble.
We'll be in big trouble because some of those things you told me, they're dynamite.
Look at that.
Yeah, I can see. Yes, well, it would blow the whole edifice apart if we were to talk about any of this.
Well, I very nearly did blow the whole edifice.
Well, of course you did.
Apart.
Very nearly. So I respect your privacy in that.
Thank you.
Obviously, the privacy of the royal family, which they're entitled to.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's not as if they're taking public fun.
No, of course. The recording we're going to play is from 1982.
Yes.
It was the Queen. I know you were there. You were visiting. You were on this tour, weren't you?
Yes.
She was touring. It was around the West Indies, and she was in the Trobriand Islands in 1982.
This is some of her pidgin English.
Yes. Let's have a listen.
Ni hamamas true. Long is stop one time you pella now. Na meeting by me come back. Hen long looking you pillow, long time behind.
To the islanders there, and to everybody listening to that back at home, that was quite remarkable, but not to you. I mean, it didn't surprise you at all.
No, because I accompanied her on the rest of that tour, and that's the wonderful thing about her, Madge, is she manages to talk to everyone in a way that they can understand. And in Jamaica, it was lovely to hear her sort of saying, "Me gwine fe get some ahi and some rice and pea, man. Me gwine fe ump and bump and we stick it in demo batty." It's wonderful to see that
It's great that she can communicate with...
Is why you are a say that me. You want some blaps to the head? Me go and blap you now. That's the wonderful thing about her. She's classless.
If you fall and hurt your shin, if you're belted on the chin, put on the face and give a grin, keep smiling. If your good deeds turn out flops, if you're smacked around the chops, put on the face and you're the tops, keep smiling. Always think of others much less fortunate than you. Those with sneezes, coughs and wheezes, measles, mumps and flu. If you've got no cash to spend, if mum drives you round the bend, put on the face and be a friend, keep smiling.
Well, that was Freddie, Mr. Parrotface Davis, and keep smiling.
You can't really tell because he'd sort of overcome it by then, but as a younger man, very, 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 very slight speech impairment.
Really?
Yeah.
And you couldn't tell him that?
No,
could
I
you?
mean, he'd mastered it by then, you know,
Yes.
but it was always an Achilles heel
Yes.
for him.
It's not easy to do. It's a good act, though. That was what he used
Great
to do.
thick.
Great thick, wasn't it? He did a bit of serious acting.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
He was in a film called Funny Bones, which was...
Yes,
yes, he was.
bunch of comedians in Speedos standing around a woman with sunglasses on.
Not exactly that.
Oh, sorry.
Not exactly like that. Shall we hear some Peter Sellers
Why not?
with the Muppets?
Wonderful.
Because I mean, you guessed it on the Muppets. I think there was Peter Sellers, John Cleese.
Yes,
David
there was a very
Frost.
funny incident when Frank Oz, he had a quick change from Fozzie into Miss Piggy, and he missed Miss Piggy, and I was standing there.
Yes.
And he almost gave me a hysterectomy.
So let's have a listen to it. Peter Sellers with the Muppets.
A gypsy's heart is yearning, a gypsy's blood is churning, a gypsy's brain is learning, a gypsy's rust is burning. There are tears on the strings of a gypsy's violin, and the tears fall on the wall as he cries. One more gypsy, no, I cannot play until my violin dries. Play, 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 play. Play, gypsy, play. Play, 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 play. Play, gypsy, play. Listen, any more talk like that, and I will play.
Peter Sellers, a great mimic, and he made his own home movies, didn't he?
Yep, and he made his own hummus.
Yes, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
Lemon juice.
A lot of lemon juice. That's the secret. I think if people overcompensate with the tahini, a lot of times the homemade.
That's
hummus.
chickpea paste, is it? The tahini?
No, the tahini is sesame seed paste.
Sesame seed paste.
And you
the
can overdo it. You know, it's very heavy, strong flavour. You want to keep the chickpeas in the foreground there. You know, back off on the sesame.
Back off.
If you want to add a new flavour, you know, go ahead, be creative. Nice thing to do is to chop up those pepperdew peppers.
Pepperdew.
And they're very nice. They've got a little bit of background heat. You know, brings out the subtleties of the flavours without swamping them. The way that sesame can. Really can. So back off on that.
Back off.
That's what Peter Sellers, he was constantly saying, back off with the sesame seeds. A few little lugs of olive oil. Fresh coriander. Rip it up.
He
put it
did
on
get. He got angry if people put too much sesame in,
I
didn't he?
fly into a rage. I remember eating with him in a restaurant called Smoky Marrakesh, which is on the Edgware Road in London.
They've got a branch in Bletchley, I think, now as well.
He used to go there all the time. He said there's nothing he liked more than going to Smoky Marrakesh and sucking on a hooker. And we went there for lunch, and we had metze. So we had the pita bread, the olive.
And it was all going well, wasn't it? Until
Yeah, he was very, very happy. You know, he just signed the Pink Panther deals and everything. He said, I'm going to be in about 3 crap movies. I'm very happy about that. Silly money. But then the hummus arrived, and one mouthful of this hummus, and it was all over. He flew into a temper, the like of which you've never seen. Overturned the tray, overturned the table, laying waste to hookers left, right and centre. The whole thing went up in flames.
Yes.
I mean, it smelled lovely, to be honest with you. It was that sort of
charcoal,
lovely.
isn't it?
It was
Yeah.
charcoal, and also, you know, that
Yes.
tobacco was all infused. You know, it was lovely
Beautiful
smell.
smell,
And the
yeah.
fire brigade arrived, and they just sort of stood there going, oh, that smells lovely. I could go for some food. Do you want some food? So the whole thing burnt down. And that
Terrible,
was the end of
wasn't
the... But, you know,
And he was in the middle of it, wasn't he? In the middle of this conflagration, shouting, back off!
Yeah, he's in the middle of the whole thing saying, they had it coming. They overdid it with tahini.
Yeah. It's a lovely story about Peter
Sticks
Sellers.
to the roof of your mouth.
Yes.
Peter Sellers.
Great days.
Good days. You know, not great, not the best days. The best days were in the sort of mid-80s.
Okay.
The new romantic scene. You know, people like The Cure used to come around a lot and borrow my mascara.
Let's hear a track from The Cure.
I would say I'm sorry if I thought that it would change your mind. But I know that this time I have said too much, been too unkind. I try to laugh about it, cover it all up with lies. I try to laugh about it, hiding the tears in my eyes. 'Cause boys don't cry.
The Cure and Boys Don't Cry. Not the sort of track I'd expect you to bring in, Dora. It's,
Yeah, well, you know, there's always a place for all that, you know, and that Paul Weller shit, you know, all that stuff. Great cool scene, man.
Yes.
You know, Paul Weller, you know, and The Cure and stuff, you know, the workhorses of the industry, you
absolutely,
know, like,
yeah.
totally committed to the music. It's all about the music at the end of the day, Martin. Sometimes I go crazy, you know, just flip out. I hear it and I see it myself. It's all about the tunes, you know.
that's true.
You can dress it up, you can get some pretty boy to front your little band stuff, but if your tune's no good,
Yeah.
you ain't got jack, saying. So it's Britney, it's Christina, it's Paul Weller, it's Sting, it's Nelson Mandela. Whoever it is, if it's a tune, I'm there.
We've got a song now which is a tribute to a small English town, which I know you've been to many times, Northampton. Northampton is 60 miles from London.
By road or rail.
By road or rail, 60 miles. So you can make it from Northampton to London, in theory, within the hour.
And of course, with property prices being so much lower than London, great place to keep a mistress.
Fantastic. Let's hear it. This is Linda Jardine, and it was a record she made on behalf of the Northampton Development Corporation, called simply Northampton. A song in praise of Northampton. You had a boyfriend for a while in Northampton. I know that.
Yes.
Dora, and
He worked in a tannery.
well, no, because it was the shoe centre of Britain, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Tanning leather.
Yeah.
Would be a big industry in Northampton.
Yeah, that's right. And he's still alive. We don't, you know, we occasionally exchange Polaroids, correspondence. He's actually entrusted with the job. When Judith Chalmers dies, he will be in charge with recovering the leather.
Yes.
She doesn't want to be cremated. She wants to be a handbag and a pair of matching shoes.
Oh, that's how sweet.
Well, all of this leads fairly seamlessly to this week's letter. It's time for our spot, which you wanted to call I've Got a Little Query.
Yes.
And I want to call.
Well, blow me.
Well, blow
It's
me.
basically if anybody has a query or a question to ask, you've got the answer.
Exactly. And this letter is from Mrs. Pooley of Matching Tie in Essex.
Right.
And she writes, Dear Dora, my husband, Milford, and I will soon be celebrating our 40th wedding anniversary.
Marvellous.
It won't just be chocolates and flowers he'll give me, though, because, you see, 40 years ago we went on honeymoon to Brazil. We had a marvellous time there. Upon our return to Essex, though, we discovered Milford had contracted a massive parasitic infestation. I was horrified, but Milford became extremely attached to what he called his new little friend. And ever since then, he has actively sought to play host to as many little friends as possible, including lice, ticks, tapeworms, protozoa, flukes, mites, hookworms, nematodes, and fungi. She says, I always joke that at least it doesn't leave hairs all over the house the way a dog would.
Yes.
Except it did when he caught sarcoptic mange mites and started to mold. Anyway, I thought it would be a wonderful anniversary treat if you had any songs in your archive about parasitic infestations of some sort. I know he'd appreciate it hugely, and it would be a wonderful compliment to the small vial of cholera I'll be giving him on the 18th. Best wishes, Mrs. Pooley and her host with the most, Milford.
Excellent.
Well, blow me, Mrs. Pooley, if we haven't come up with something. It's not, strictly speaking, a parasitic infestation, but it's as close as we could get. It's the Bedbug Song.
By Lord Invader.
Yes, I heard when you die after burial, you got to come back as some insect or animal. Yes, I heard when you die after burial, you got to come back as some insect or animal. Well, if it's so, I don't want to be a monkey, neither a sheep, a goat or donkey. My brother said he want to come back a hog, but not invader. I want to be a bed bug. Why? Because I want to bite those young ladies' partner like a hot dog or a hamburger. If they know the thing, don't be in a fright. It's only big fat women I want to bite.
Well, excellent that you found that one, Dora. Lord Invader, Bedbug, and I'm not sure what a pattern there is, but...
You will once you've been bitten on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there it is. Glad to clear that one up. If you've got any inquiries, you can always email us, or just keep your thoughts to yourself.
Yes, excellent.
Don't
That's a
really
good-
want to know.
Good alternative there.
We've sort of stitched up the series, really, so don't bother writing.
No. You're listening to Pleased to Meet You
Yeah.
with me, Martin Kellner,
And me, Dora Dale.
and my guest, Dora Dale.
Did I interrupt your flow?
No, not at all.
Are you all right? Do you need a toilet break? Do you
I'm
need
fine,
to
but-
go to the Lalipo?
Well, everybody can. This is a good opportunity.
Let's put on something a bit rubbish, and then people, if they need to go to the Lalipo, they can go to the Lalipo. But then again, they might be listening live on the website, which is www.bbc.co.uk/BBC7, and you can listen, and then you can pause it. Then you can go to the Lalipo, come back, and you won't have missed anything. Now then, Martin, we're going to hear from a very dear friend of mine, Bernard Cribbins, who, of course, sang Right Said Fred, many years ago.
It was a hit record for him.
Yeah, which is a great song about the forbidden love between two removal men. I mean, nowadays, it would have been like Brokeback Mountain. There's a lot of hidden meaning to it.
It was on a different scale, but the same general idea.
Yeah, Slip Disc Mountain.
Slip Disc Mountain.
But Bernard Cribbins, of course, became the voice of Paddington Bear.
Yes, that's right.
It was the perfect match, Bernard Cribbins and Paddington, because Bernard was very heavily into plushing. Plushing is, of course, love between usually a man and a soft toy.
Ah, plushing.
Yeah.
So it's people who like their teddy bears.
People who love their
teddy bears. It's more than like, people.
Yeah. And marmalade was actually a code word of his for extremely brutal lovemaking. And this, the middle section particularly, there's a little spoken part in this song. Listen very carefully. This is lifted word for word from a personal advert he put in Loot.
Excellent. OK, we'll have a listen to the track. This is Bernard Cribbins.
Somebody rare who is always completely disarming
and really rather charming.
It is surely a rare kind of bear.
I suppose I am a rare sort of bear, really. I emigrated from darkest Peru in a ship. I stowed away in a lifeboat. I like bullseyes and toffee. I like cocoa at 11, cherry cake for tea, and marmalade all the time. I was found on a railway station. That's how I got my name, Paddington.
Who's untidy and gets in a muddle?
Who loves a marmalade sandwich or two to munch
For his lunch, who is sticky and always in trouble? Who's the unusual bear with his own special stare? It must be Paddington Bear from Peru.
the rare bear.
From Peru.
Your good friend, Dora, Bernard Cribbins and Paddington Bear.
Who is sticky and always in trouble?
Yes.
Bernard Cribbins.
Shall we hear Jake Thackeray?
Why not?
This is Jake Thackeray performing a song called It Was Only a Gypsy.
I am a handsome policeman, I am bold and versatile. My wife is white and beautiful with breasts of alabaster. When I hurry home to her, she whispers with a smile, "What did you do today, my big blue hero?" There was only a gypsy, a rugged, shaggy blackguard of a Didikai. Up to no good, I did what I should, a little physical persuasion, and he passed on by. But now I grow impatient to enjoy her juicy beauty. I search for the rising rhythms of those breasts of alabaster. No, she cries, pray tell me what you did today on duty. Tell me more about this hairy gypsy. It was only a gypsy, a rugged, shaggy blackguard of a Didikai. Up to no good, I did what I should, a little physical persuasion, and he passed on by.
That was Jake Thackeray. It was only a gypsy.
Well, of course, that was the attitude
In those days, it was, wasn't it? You could say that.
Yeah, I hung out with lots of gypsies. They were much more accepting of their lot. A happy, carefree life, nomadically wandering hither and thither, like a bee from flower to flower. It does bring a certain price you have to pay, like picking buckshot out of your arse for 18 hours at a time. Or
There's baggage with it, isn't there? There's baggage.
There is
comes with it,
baggage and
yes.
shooting. If you're on someone's land and they happen to want to shoot indiscriminately across that particular piece of land while you occupy it, that will happen. You know, but they were accepting, whereas nowadays it's all this
They've got pressure groups, haven't they? And it's
human
all...
rights and...
But I mean, if you were to shoot a gypsy nowadays, you'd be in trouble for it.
It's ridiculous. We're doing gypsy season on the 12th of July. Open season, we go coursing across country. Tally-ho! Blam, blam, there goes one now. Your Heather wasn't that lucky, was it, ma'am? Nowadays, of course, you know...
Well, you can't. I mean, if you shoot a gypsy, you'll end up, even if you don't kill them, if it's just sort of...
Yeah, just a little
wound
light
them.
maiming.
Yes. You'll end up in court, and you'll be in trouble for it.
Ridiculous.
It's political correctness
Because
gone mad, really, isn't
the
it?
thing is, Martin, that the gypsy population has to be managed. You see, what we were doing was a humane controlling of the gypsy population. It will go spiraling out of control if we aren't there to shoot it and keep it down. It's actually an extraordinarily compassionate thing to do, to kill a gypsy. Otherwise, they'll just get diseases. At least they've had a wonderful, natural life that has been snuffed out prematurely, but compassionately. We used to get up on our horses, get off with the dogs, they'd rip a gypsy apart and we'd just smear their blood and entrails all over our forehead. There was something really rather wonderful about it.
Well, it's time once more now for Modern Misadventures.
Yeah.
These are recording projects of relatively recent vintage that were particularly ill-advised.
Yes, and this one is a unique partnership, a collaboration of man and bird.
Yes, this is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't mean bird in the sort of East End way.
No.
Like Renee and Renata.
No, this is a smooth jazz
blended with the haunting sound of the loon.
Yes.
If you will, it's the trading of riffs between two species.
And it's a loon, which is a seabird.
That's right.
Is a seabird a loon?
It's an aquatic bird,
isn't it? But I think resident in countries like Norway and Nordic countries.
That's
really.
right, yeah. And you can actually turn a loon into a smooth soul singer.
Yes.
You simply stick it in the microwave until it's Bill Withers.
Yes. Now, Dora, once more, you've brought your little ukulele in.
Yeah.
And to take us towards the end of the show, you're going to play a little tune for us.
Yeah, I thought I'd knock one out for you.
Excellent. You're just tuning up at the moment.
Just tuning. Once the strings are warm, just don't get them wet.
No. And that's your axe, isn't it, really?
It's an axlet.
It's a little tiny axlet.
Now, this song...
Yes, Dora?
...is something that I wrote during the war.
Mm-hmm.
It's dedicated to my ex-husband, Vin, who suffered tremendously during the war.
Yes,
In fact, we all did, really. We'd spend hours and hours and hours cooped up in our little Anderson shelter. No ventilation. And this is a sort of a classic wartime song, really. It's called Light a Match for Your Sweetheart.
Oh, lovely.
Here we go. Through the moonlit leaves I hear it blowing. The gentle murmur of the wind keeps growing. As we sit down here on our city, I have to wonder, what can this be? Is it the wind that blows through the trees? Is it the sigh of a summer's breeze? Or shouldn't I have given you those peas? Light a match for your sweetheart.
Well, Dora, we have to wrap it up there. That's all we have time for this week. But hopefully we'll meet again very, very soon. It's been my pleasure, Dora, to meet some of the people that you've been pleased to meet. And Dora, I look forward to the time once again when we'll be pleased to meet you.
Goodbye, darling.
Pleased to Meet You was written, performed and produced by Jake Yap and Martin Kellner. Miss Dale would like to thank George Clooney.
And Dora's revelatory mouth will spill forth more amazing secrets concerning stars such as Honor Blackman, Petula Clark and Telly Savalas, the only bald man to whom shouting, "Hey Kojak!" isn't insulting.
BBC Seven's Comedy Club with Alex Ross.